Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Cougar Coburn and welcome to the Cougar Coburn Show. Now, this is my first episode I'm doing of a full episode, and what this is all about is I'm going to sit down and I'm going to talk about real things, real topics, and real conversations with real people. And I want to convey as much information as possible without fear of offending anybody or talking about something we shouldn't talk about. Everything should be talked about. There is no topic that is off limits on this show, and things will be discussed in length. I want to hear and listen to as many perspectives as possible so I can learn. That's what this show's about. So this first show, we're going to be talking a little bit of philosophy. We're going to be talking a little bit about the current news, and then we're going to get into some happier stuff to finish it off. So please enjoy. So let's start off with talking about some philosophy, some values, some ideas that can direct you in life. And that first one that I want to talk about is the ability to admit when you're wrong. And it seems like something that happens a lot in our culture is people don't like to be wrong. We are really, really consumed with what other people are thinking about us. And so if I'm wrong, that means people will know that I'm wrong and they will think less of me for being wrong. And so I do not want to be wrong. And we have had to kind of take this turn as people have been, leading us forward with this, is that you can't get caught up on what your society and culture thinks. You have to be able to express yourself for who you are. And that also starts the path to happiness, and the path to be able to find who you are is you have to get the old stuff out of the way. And that is the stuff that you won't admit that you're wrong in. And those are situations going back so long. That's a situation just yesterday. There's so many times that our ego self-defense pops up and it doesn't want to be wrong because we don't want to look dumb. Like, it makes sense why we don't want to be wrong, but what we don't realize is that there is a whole new world on the other side of being like, yeah, no, that was my bad, 100%. I'll take responsibility for that. I could have done better, and I will do better, and I'll stop doing this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, admitting you're wrong. So let's read a couple quotes that kind of stuck out to me about this idea. Admitting a mistake means refusing to other people as scapegoats to avoid responsibility, but rather courageously owning up to every single one of them. Another one is admitting you're wrong is a modern way of showing you've grown a little bit wiser. Now, I like that. I feel like wisdom comes from being able to analyze yourself and be real with yourself. Because if you can't trust yourself, who can you trust? And if you can trust yourself to tell you that, hey, you're wrong right here. I love you, but you're wrong. And you need to admit that you're wrong. That is huge. That is so big. And so I'm doing that with my life. I am trying every single time there is conflict or an emotional situation. I don't want to always just defend myself. I want to look at it and say, if I messed up here, then I messed up, and let's get the responsibility where it needs to be put, and let's go forward. That's where I'm at. Admitting that you're wrong. My challenge to you for this week, can you admit that you're wrong? Not on everything, and not taking the blame when it's not your responsibility, but actually genuinely when something happens that was your responsibility, can you admit it? That's my challenge to you. Go out there and love the world, and I promise you a whole different world opens up when this practice is put into place. So now let's get into talking about some of the news and the current events and some really important things that are happening like right this second, right now. And then we'll start this off with a clip. Let's take a look.
It's not just China, and this is the theory, but the thing about the lab leak and why I actually want to deculture. You had Josh Rogan on, and he did an excellent job.
Really good job.
That guy's amazing.
What he expertly shows is if this is true, the lab leak hypothesis is true. Yes, the Chinese covered it up. Guess what? The Chinese are liars, and they covered up SARS, and they've covered up basically everything that's come out of their country for the last 30 years. That's not a shocker. The shocker is Dr. Anthony Fauci, 2017, reverses the ban on gain-of-function research, directs this funding to EcoHealth Alliance, Dr. Peter Daszak, who then gives it to the Wuhan Institute of Virology for the study of novel bat coronaviruses. And then when the pandemic turns around, we take Dr. Peter Daszak as the only American to join the World Health Organization's investigation team into whether coronavirus leaked from a lab. And on 60 Minutes, I forget who was interviewing him. She goes, well, wait, so how did you verify it? Did you just ask them? And he goes, well, what else can we do? Because he's also half British. And that's how he goes, well, what else can we do? Oh, we could read emails. We could also see that Peter Daszak, as of 2 days ago, has been caught lying. He said there were no live bats inside of the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Sky News Australia just revealed 2017 video that bats were present inside the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and the deputy director says, before this, China had no experience in BSL-4 laboratory. That's the highest level safety for a laboratory, but we have been here, and I don't forget, I don't want to misquote him, but he said something along the lines of creating new viruses, synthesizing new viruses. And what Fauci and Dr. Shi, who's the head of the Wuhan Institute of Virology, they're playing fucking games. Fauci and Rand Paul, when Rand Paul was pressing him, he was like, we did not fund gain of function research. He's trying to define it as explicitly what is on the record as him funding. Dr. Shi is the same thing. We were not doing gain of function research at the lab.
This is actually
Okay, so we could dive deep into those details of what is going on in the Wuhan lab in China involving COVID. Okay, that is a thing for a new episode, and we'll be covering that 100%. But Sager brings up a lot of great points that point to something that I want to talk about. And that's, for the past year, social media has not allowed us to have this conversation of COVID being man-made, okay? So let's take a look at some of these headlines. Facebook will no longer remove posts claiming COVID-19 was man-made as support mounts for probes into the virus. Facebook no longer banning posts calling the coronavirus man-made. What is going on here? Why were we just labeled as racist if we wanted to have a conversation about the origins of this virus? Because I remember wanting to talk about this a year ago and seeing all over Twitter, this is so xenophobic if you think that this virus is anything but a natural occurring thing. See, what we did there was we smashed out and suppressed a conversation that we really needed to have. And that's the beauty of this show, is that we're having those conversations, because this is my example of, like, you can call anything racist and then people will just not talk about it anymore. So maybe if we don't allow that word to just be blanket labeled onto everything and we don't care, it'll go away, and we can actually use the term racist when people are being racist, not asking for real information about a virus that is impacting the whole world. I don't know. So my question is, why do we think it's okay that these social media giants can take this information and not allow anyone to talk about it? And then it gets into the debate of, is it a private or public thing? They act like they're public. They act like it's a public thing that people can get on and have freedom of speech. But that's a whole new thing. We need to be aware that these social media giants, regardless if they're right or wrong in terms of like public or private, they are attempting to get us to think one specific way. That is the dangerous thing that I'm trying to say. They are trying to get us to think a certain way. Why is that? Why do they have so much concern with what we think, and that they're going to limit information? If you talk about this, you can't talk about that. Oh, but you can talk about this and you can talk about that. Okay? Well, look what happens when we listen to them. Where are we at right now? We just listened to a clip of all this information coming out about Wuhan and all these conflicting reports. What is going on? Why is this okay? Why is no one like up in arms that we have been like suppressed and lied to? I don't understand it. I feel like this is really big, but maybe more stuff has to come out. I don't know. But all I know is that I am not trusting Facebook and Instagram to be my fact checker and to be the one, the final say in things. And if they say that coronavirus wasn't man-made, then it's not man-made. Fuck that. I'm sorry. Fuck that. That is not what this world is about. And that's not what I'm here for. I want to learn by speaking to people and what they know. I don't want to listen to political, like banter back and forth of why Democrats are right and why Republicans are wrong, or vice versa. That stuff doesn't matter. I want to have conversations that lead to us progressing our information. And guess what? If there are tyrants above us that aren't allowing to have those conversations, that aren't allowing us to have those conversations, I think we're in trouble. So maybe talking about it is something that'll get the ball rolling on maybe we should push back on these regulations and stuff. Now, if they come out and are full-fledged private, they can allow whatever on their website. Okay, that's fine. But I don't think, as far as I understand, that they have like 100% stated that. It's like a foot in one side and a foot in the other side. And you can kind of play both sides. And the social media right now is a gray area in terms of all of this. That's fine. These conversations need to happen so we can figure out what the gray area is. So now that the sky is falling and we're all freaking out and being lied to, let's jump over to like something way happier. And that is our puppy of the week. So this is my dog Butter. She is super cute. I got her a couple years ago from a shelter. It was love at first sight. I love this dog. I take care of her. She's taught me so much about life, and I just love dogs, man. And if you have any dogs and you're watching this, send in some dogs and your dog can be puppy of the week, because dogs really are important. They really are. So I like them. I like to show mine off. She's so cute, and no one can convince me that she's not cute. I want to wrap these episodes up with a puppy of the week, a quote of the week, and then why humans are good. So we're going to end this on the quote, and then we'll just transition right into the video for the end. The quote of the week is something that I actually really live my life by, and not because this man said it, but because I came to the realization, and then I found that he had been talking about it before. Socrates, all I know is that I know nothing. I don't know anything. I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to hear. Not even hear. I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to understand what people are saying. I'm trying to understand perspectives that aren't mine, because I know my perspective is limited, just like everyone else's. All I know is that I know nothing. Thanks for watching.